How many times have you said, I'll start over on Monday? I've said that way more times than I can even count. And, it's a new week, a new me, new thought patterns, new habits. But by Friday, I'm back to the version of myself that I said I no longer wanted to be. You see, I've been reflecting a lot as I'm learning more about myself and living abroad on consistency and what that looks like or what that means for me. And I wanted to share it with you because you might relate. And, you know, I wanted to share maybe why we keep starting over and or what is helping me to finally stay consistent. I've been reflecting a lot on how I used to think. I used to think that I was lazy, that I was undisciplined, but now I'm realizing that my inconsistency is not really inconsistency at all, but more or less self-sabotage rooted in guilt. How does the cycle begin? Normally, it starts with inspiration or motivation. You're inspired by someone or something and you're motivated, you're ready to go. So you start the next phase, which is planning. Planning to turn whatever you're seeing within your mind into physical manifestation or physical reality. The next step would be execution. So maybe you're executing your plan and you're consistent for a few weeks, a few days, or maybe even a few months. But as we all know, life happens. Stuff happens, something happens, and you fall off, right? And so you start the cycle of guilt tripping yourself, beating yourself up, being in a guilty state, or allowing other people to even beat you up emotionally. And then once all of that is said and done, you finally sit down and tell yourself, okay, I'll start over whenever, in the new year, in the new month, or even a new day. See, that's when you've officially put yourself inside of the trap, the all or nothing trap, the all or nothing cycle, the all or nothing loop. Because what you're doing essentially now is, instead of continuing from where you are, you're using your slip up as a reason to start over. I know I definitely did, because every time that I slipped up, that I messed up, I would use that as an excuse to tell myself that I have to start completely over, instead of using my slip ups as lessons and opportunity to apply it to the knowledge that I already have and just continuing on my journey, right? You see, it's not that I was failing. It's not that I needed more motivation. What I needed was to just accept my failures, accept my slip-ups, and continue for where I am and stop putting myself in the all or nothing cage. And that's maybe what you are doing to yourself. You see, my friend, even if you fall on your ass, sorry for the language, it's okay. Because with every failure comes growth. With every failure comes new knowledge and maybe even new opportunities that you probably wasn't able to see before. Consistency isn't being perfect. Consistency isn't perfection. Consistency isn't hitting the same goal every single time the exact same way, but instead showing up for yourself more than you don't show up for yourself. It's what you do after you fall off. It's pouring in a little bit each day or a little bit every other day, Consistency kind of looks like this. Honestly, that is what you need to ingrain in your mind. When you think of consistency, it looks exactly like this image. Not the same amount every single day, but just putting in effort more often than you don't, even when you fail or even if you fall. What changed for me wasn't some calendar or perfect rising routine, but instead my mindset, starting with 3 things. Number 1 being starting from where I am, not where I think I should be. You see, you have to start from where you are, not where you wish to be. You see, I stopped waiting for myself to feel ready in order to do things. Being abroad will actually kind of force you a little bit into this way of thinking or this way of being. It forces you out of your comfort zone and to just kind of go with the flow, just jump in. Some days I may not feel high vibrational. Some days I may feel like I'm out of alignment a little bit, or I may not feel like doing certain things, but maybe we're going to do them anyway. For example, maybe I don't feel like meditating for an hour twice a day. But you know what? How about I sit down and I meditate for 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Because meditating for any amount of time is better than meditating for no amount of time. And just take that mindset and apply it in a way that works for you. Doing the thing in general rather than not doing the thing at all will get you results over time. Number 2 is being kinder to myself. I kind of noticed that being abroad gives you a lot of time to think, I think. But I don't see myself the way other people see me. And I just begin to realize how much I would actually beat myself up and not give myself credit for things that I should give myself credit for. Or just beating myself up in general. I realized that guilt was killing my momentum, and guilt might be killing yours too. So instead of guilt tripping myself or allowing others to beat me up verbally or emotionally, I would hold myself accountable without making myself feel guilty when I slip up. Because when you put yourself in a guilty state of being, that's more or less punishment. But punishment isn't going to create progress, right? So I had to change the way I seen things. I had to stop seeing guilt as accountability and realize that they were two different things. Just because you feel guilty does not mean you're holding yourself accountable. You have to figure out a way to hold yourself accountable, but not put yourself in a guilty state of being. Because essentially what you're going to be doing is punishing yourself. And when you punish yourself, that causes stagnation within your own progress. You kind of got to think of it like training a puppy. What they say, positive reinforcement, right? When you make the puppy feel bad and you're trying to train it, it makes things worse. Trust me, coming from a dog mom. But when you use positive reinforcement, it makes progress. Number 3, I am lowering the bar a little bit. I know most of us think that we need to actually raise the bar, but sometimes you have to reflect on where you are currently in your life, on your journey, and not really compare it to others and figure out what your bar is at the moment. Because I used to think that consistency was also about how much you can get done. But I've realized that just because I put 12 things on my plate or 20 things on my to-do list to be consistent at and to get done doesn't make me more consistent. In fact, it causes burnout, especially for me. So I had to take a lot of things off of my plate. I had to accept the fact that consistency isn't about how much you do, but how often you do the things that you need to get results in the areas of your life that you want to get results in. So for me, that looked like taking a bunch of things off of my plate for the moment, despite my interest in so many different areas, and instead maybe focusing on 2 to 3 things consistently at the moment. Because once you build that rhythm, that consistency rhythm in the areas that are most important to get you the results that you're trying to see, then you can add things over time to be more consistent in those areas. But you have to realize that sometimes you need to take some things off of your plate, you need to lower the bar, and you need to worry about how often you're showing up rather than how much you're doing in a day, in a week, in a month, or even in a year. Consistency isn't just discipline. It isn't just brute forcing your way through everything, but instead it takes a lot of self-compassion. You see, you don't need just motivation or just inspiration. That's just the spark to try to get the fire lit. You need self-compassion in order to not punish yourself and not allow other people to punish you for when you slip up. Because the people that you admire, the people that are getting results, are the people that are consistent, but they slip up sometimes. And the difference between you and them, us and them, is that when they slip up, they don't let that slip up, that fall, mean failure for them. So you cannot allow your slip-ups to mean that you've failed. You have to allow them to teach you, to guide you, more or less, and to keep going. Living abroad is actually forcing me to confront this, to face this every single day. You see, When you're rebuilding your life, you want new habits, new ways of thinking, maybe a new mindset, a new country, a new city, whatever. You want that new thing. Most of the time we want it to happen instantly, but it's not gonna happen. It's a journey, and you have to learn to embrace it, because the more you resist it, the more trouble, problems, challenges you're gonna run into in life. But when you go with it, when you learn to just embrace the journey, when you learn that the real growth happens when you are consistent, when you are in a state of repetition, then you realize that, okay, I don't need to reset anymore. Resetting isn't going to get me towards my goal. Instead, it's just going to push me further and further back. I just need to show up, even if it's imperfectly. And if you're tired of starting over, right, like me, then maybe it's time that we stop quitting every time we fail and just keep marching forward with our heads held high and the lessons that we learned behind us to guide us, to teach us, to make us better than we were the day before. I'm wishing you peace, love, light, and healing. See you next time.